Darkness as snow crunches underfoot. The bitter wind stings your face. You're unarmed, barefoot, and surrounded by pine trees taller than cathedrals. Somewhere in the distance, a low growl rises. Then another and another. You're being hunted, not by a lion, not by a bear, but by a pack of Ice Age wolves, faster, smarter, and hungrier than anything you've seen before. Behind you, a Neanderthal silently tightens his grip on a sharpened spear. He knows something you don't. You won't survive the next 10 minutes. Welcome to the Neanderthal wolf hunt, where silence is survival, and one wrong move means your mate. Imagine standing face to face with a Neanderthal. Not the cartoon caveman you've seen in textbooks, but a real one, stocky, powerful, and still as stone. He's shorter than you, sure, but broader, thicker, and dense with muscle built not in gyms, but through raw survival. Every inch of his frame screams one thing: function over form. His ribcage flares wider, giving his lungs more room to expand, more air to pull in during long chases or sudden sprints. His forearms are thick, not from lifting weights, but from years of dragging prey, climbing cliffs, and cracking bone. His hands huge, square-palmed, with a grip like a vice. Tools weren't just used, they were extensions of his body. And then there's the skull, sloping forehead, massive brow ridge, a brain even bigger than yours. Not just muscle. This guy thinks, strategizes, plans. But his intelligence isn't about inventing gadgets or uploading cat videos. It's wired for survival, for navigating dense forests, predicting prey movement, sensing the wind before a storm rolls in. He doesn't run marathons. He explodes, short, brutal bursts of speed, enough to charge a wounded bison or escape a collapsing cave wall. His feet are wider, tougher, used to gripping uneven ground barefoot. And unlike us, he doesn't flinch when the temperature drops below freezing. Now imagine this while you're struggling to breathe in sub-zero cold, fumbling with gloves and gasping for signal on your phone. He's already tracking a scent you can't even smell, ears locked onto a wolf's distant call. He's not just surviving this place, he's mastering it. You weren't made for this world, but he was. Now let's pull back. What kind of world could create a being like the Neanderthal? Welcome to Ice Age Europe, a land not just cold, but merciless. Imagine endless stretches of frozen tundra, forests so thick they swallow sound, and towering glaciers carving through mountain valleys. It's not just wild, it's dangerous in every direction. If the wolves don't get you, the starvation will. If you find warmth, it won't last. Every single breath is earned here. This isn't the world modern humans evolved in. We came from the savannah, open lands, long-distance vision, and eventually, farms. But Neanderthals were forged in the forge of chaos. They didn't just live in this cold, cruel world. They thrived in it for over 300,000 years. And in this world, everything was bigger. Megafauna roamed the earth: woolly mammoths, cave lions, and 1,000-pound bison. The animals were tougher. The weather was crueler. Even the silence felt more dangerous. You couldn't afford to be weak, or slow, or indecisive. So Neanderthals adapted. They didn't build cities. They built survival systems. They knew the land like it was written in their bones. Every cave wall mapped the seasons. Every tree had meaning. Every crack in a cliff could hold shelter or death. They formed small, tight-knit groups. Not large tribes like us, but quiet, watchful units. If one person got hurt, the entire group might perish. Cooperation wasn't a virtue. It was a requirement. They hunted, gathered, scavenged. But they didn't just charge into the wild. They watched, listened, waited. And when the moment came, they acted with stunning precision. Because in a world that doesn't forgive mistakes, only the perfect survive. We've seen the body. We've seen the world. But here's what most people don't realize. The real weapon wasn't the muscle. It was the mind. The Neanderthal brain wasn't some primitive version of ours. In many ways, it was better, larger in volume, unmatched in processing space for vision, memory, and movement. Think of it like a super-optimized survival computer. They could read the land like a tracker reads footprints. They knew when the wolves had passed by, how many, which way they were going. They could identify edible roots in a snow-covered forest or sense an avalanche before it broke. And emotionally, they weren't beasts. We found burials, careful, intentional. Bodies placed in fetal positions, sprinkled with flowers and pigments, tools placed beside the dead. This wasn't just instinct. This was ritual, meaning, grief. They cared for the sick and injured, sometimes for years. A blind or crippled Neanderthal could survive if the group chose to protect them. Imagine that level of empathy in a world where food was never guaranteed. And their tools? Far more advanced than people used to think. They used tar from birch trees to glue spearheads, crafted blades so sharp they rivaled surgical steel, carved symbols, possibly even early art, on cave walls. But their greatest achievement, the hunt, because that's where everything, the body, the environment, the brain, came together. It wasn't just survival, it was mastery. They didn't fear the dark, they ruled in it. They didn't avoid the predator, they became one. So next time you see a picture of a Neanderthal drawn as a dumb brute, remember, you are the descendant of someone who barely made it out of their world. They were built for it. You're just visiting. Long before your fluffy golden retriever ever wagged a tail, his ancestors were monsters, not cute, not loyal, but lean, bone-rattling killers with eyes that glowed in the dark and jaws strong enough to crush mammoth bone. These were the apex predators of Ice Age Europe, not wolves as we know them, but dire wolves, steppe wolves, and other now extinct canids that operated like military units. And yes, they hunted humans. Let's start with the size. Imagine a wolf the size of a grown man's thigh, shoulders to ground, weighing over 150 pounds, sometimes more. Its skull, broader and more robust than modern wolves, with fangs built to crack open frozen meat. These weren't scavengers. They were top-level killers designed for endurance and coordination. And they didn't hunt alone, like Neanderthals. Ice Age wolves were social predators, but instead of loyalty and cuddles, their packs were brutal machines. Roles were assigned: flankers, chasers, blockers. The weak were discarded. Only the smartest, strongest, and fastest wolves survived and bred. Over time, this created elite-level killers. These wolves didn't rely on raw power like lions. They relied on timing and teamwork, the kind that traps prey before it even knows it's surrounded. And here's the truly terrifying part. They weren't afraid of humans. In fact, they preferred them. Neanderthal hunting parties were a jackpot. If a few wolves could corner one man separated from the group, that was a feast. Tools, fire. Doesn't matter if you're exhausted, bleeding, or disoriented, that's when they strike. We know this because we've found bite marks on hominin. Bones, skull punctures, shattered femurs. Some kills were clean, others absolutely not. So while Neanderthals were hunting the wolves' prey, the wolves were hunting them. Imagine the scene. It's dusk in the Ice Age. Snow falls silently across a wind-beaten ridge. A Neanderthal camp burns faintly in the distance. A kill has just been made, maybe a deer, maybe something bigger. The scent of blood drifts on the wind. And somewhere, the wolves catch it. But they don't charge in. Not yet. They circle. They test. You see, these weren't wild, desperate animals acting on instinct. They were calculated, patient, and above all, strategic. They observed from the tree line. They tracked patterns. They learned your weaknesses. If a Neanderthal group had only one fire, the wolves waited until it dimmed. If a hunter strayed while gathering wood, they followed his tracks in silence. If a child cried too far from the camp, the pack crept closer. This wasn't just survival, it was warfare. And that's the terrifying reality. Ice Age wolves didn't just live around humans, they coexisted in a rival ecosystem, competing for the same prey, drinking from the same streams, sleeping in the same caves. We weren't allies, we were enemies. And for centuries, no one had the upper hand. Archaeological sites across Europe show a constant push and pull. Burned animal bones, abandoned camps, overlapping footprints of humans and wolves. Some tell stories of humans driving wolves back with torches and noise. Others show signs of panic, of weapons left behind, of bones dragged into the woods and gnawed clean. And here's the kicker. While modern wolves avoid humans, these ancient ones did not. Because Neanderthals had meat, fire, shelter, and wolves wanted all three. You never saw them coming. Not until the growl turned into a charge. It's a myth that ancient humans were always the dominant species. The truth, there were nights when Neanderthals weren't the hunters, but the prey. Picture this, a lone Neanderthal returns from a scouting trip. The forest around him is silent. Too silent, his hands grip a bloodied spear. He's tired, hungry, just a few hundred steps from camp. Then, snap, a twig behind him. He freezes, breath held, heart pounding. He's not alone. From the darkness, eyes emerge. Not one, not two, a dozen, yellow, glowing, coordinated, waiting. It's a pack. He shouts, waves the spear, backs up toward camp. But he knows how this ends. He's seen it before. They don't all charge at once. One finds left, another dashes right, a third circles. Behind, they're trying to split him from the path, isolate him from the firelight. And here's the cruel irony. The same tactics Neanderthals used on mammoths and deer, the wolves now use on him. This wasn't just a fluke event. It was a cycle, one species rising, the other responding, evolving, pushing, surviving. And sometimes, wolves lost. Neanderthals learned to use fire strategically, not just to cook, but to create light barriers. They built shelters with narrow entrances. They hunted in teams, creating noise, sharpening weapons. Some may have even domesticated early pups, not as pets, but as tools of war. Still, the risk never disappeared. Because wolves weren't just fast, they were patient. They could wait days in the snow for one wrong step. In the world before cities, before fences, before control, it was you against the wilderness, and the wilderness never slept. The wolf didn't bark, it stalked, and when it came for the throat. The hunt didn't start with a chase. It started with a silence so heavy you could feel it in your bones. Imagine crouching low in knee-deep snow. Your breath fogs the air. Beside you, 5 Neanderthals, no words, no noise, just eyes locked forward, hands clenched on sharpened spears. Every movement rehearsed, every heartbeat timed. This is not some chaotic charge. This is ritualized precision, the prehistoric version of a military op. Neanderthals didn't just rely on strength, they relied on method. Every hunt followed unspoken rules shaped by years of trial, error, and death. First rule, watch the wind. Your scent was your betrayal. If the wind turned, so did your fate. Neanderthals knew how to read smoke trails, falling snow, even the twitch of animal fur in the distance to gauge airflow. They moved upwind, always. Second rule, use the land. They didn't fight the terrain, they used it. Herds were driven toward cliffs. Prey was funneled into ravines. They waited near frozen lakes, where animals moved slowly. Every rock, tree, and slope was a weapon. Third rule, don't talk. Neanderthals likely used hand signals, clicks, and body language. Words were too risky. In a world where a single grunt could give you away, silence was survival. And it wasn't just about the prey. They had to watch the sky for eagles. They might signal a nearby kill. They had to listen for the distant thump of mammoth herds, or the deeper rumble of something larger. Even fire was used tactically. Some groups carried embers with them, ready to ignite smoke as distraction. Others baited predators into conflict zones to weaken larger prey. The modern mind thinks of the hunt as instinct, but to Neanderthals, it was a system, brutal, beautiful, and precise. You don't join a Neanderthal hunt, you earn your place in it. Now comes the moment where everything hangs in the balance, the strike, the target. A lone bison, wounded and separated, blood mats its fur. Steam rises from its body into the cold air. It snorts, panicked, knowing it's not alone. But the hunters are invisible, still shadows in the trees. Then it happens. A single Neanderthal emerges, not charging, not yelling, just appearing, calmly, deliberately. The bison flinches. It turns. Behind it, 3 more Neanderthals rise, silent, coordinated, no mistakes. This is the kill zone, a triangle of death. One distracts, the others corner. The prey's options narrow to one, fight. The bison charges. And that's exactly what they want. A hunter sidesteps and drives his spear under the ribcage. Another slams a sharpened stone into its flank. It's not clean. It's chaos. Blood sprays across the snow. The bison roars, kicks, swings its massive head. One misstep here could crush a skull or shatter a leg. But Neanderthals didn't flinch. They moved together like wolves, but with weapons. And those weapons weren't crude. They were handcrafted with obsessive precision. Spears made from yew wood, hardened in fire. Blades from obsidian so sharp they could split skin on contact. Hafted tools glued with tree resin and sinew, engineered to survive impact. The kill takes less than a minute, but it's not over, because the smell of blood draws attention. Within hours or less, scavengers arrive. Wolves, hyenas, maybe even another human group. The Neanderthals work fast, skinning, cutting, wrapping organs in hide. Bone marrow first, the energy-dense gold of the Ice Age. Brains next, then meat. They carry what they can. The rest, burn it, scatter it. Leave no trail. Because in the wild, a successful hunt isn't the end. It's just the start of another fight. The hunt was over. The prey was dead. But this was never just about killing animals. Because out here, everything is hunting something. Neanderthals weren't the only predators on the land, and they knew it. After the kill, the next challenge began, defending the prize. Steppe lions could smell blood from miles away. Giant hyenas worked in packs and could break femurs like twigs. And wolves, always watching, always waiting for the right moment. So Neanderthals built systems of defense. While some butchered, others stood guard. Spears upright, eyes scanning the trees. Fires ringed the perimeter, not just for warmth, but as a warning, a flickering message in the dark. We're still here. And then there was the mental game, the real rule of the hunt. Because it wasn't just about survival. It was about dominance, outhinking the prey, outsmarting the predators, outsurviving the cold, outsensing the unseen. Some groups even used decoys, leaving meat in exposed areas to bait scavengers. While the main camp moved silently through the shadows, they learned how to fake trails, how to mask scent with smoke, how to vanish into the land. But they were being watched too. Wolves studied them, followed at a distance, learned when they were weak, waited for sickness, injury, carelessness. A missing hunter? That's not just bad luck. It's a lesson, a reminder that even the strongest among them could fall. And that's the most brutal truth of all. In the Ice Age, there were no safe moments. Even the victory of a successful hunt was borrowed. Time, you eat fast, you move fast, and you never, ever forget the rules, because the minute you do, you become the meat. It's just you now. No backpack, no weapons, no GPS, no phone. Just the clothes on your back and your fragile modern body, suddenly dropped into a glacial forest 40,000 years ago. The first thing that hits you isn't a wolf or a predator. It's the cold. Not a crisp winter breeze. We're talking sub-zero. Skin-splitting cold that bites through every layer. Your lungs burn with every breath. Your fingers stiffen in minutes. Your modern boots, they're already failing. And then the silence, not peaceful, ominous. Because you know something is out there. You just can't see it yet. You try to move, but your legs are awkward. The snow pulls at your ankles. There's no clear path, no trail markers. You step on a frozen branch, snap, loud to loud. Suddenly, the forest feels tighter. The trees lean in. Every rustle sounds like footsteps. You hear birds scatter in the distance. Something spooked them, not you. Something bigger. You find a footprint, not yours, not human. It's wide, padded, deep in the snow. A predator, maybe a dire wolf, maybe a few. Your heart races. You look for cover. There's a cave, too shallow. A tree, too low. Fire. You don't have the tools, the knowledge, or the time. Even if you could start one, the smoke might lure worse. You've been here for 20 minutes, and already, your options are gone. You try to remember survival shows. What did they say? Stay calm, find water, signal for help. But here, there's no help coming. No rescue team, no satellite overhead. Just the ancient wilderness, and a pack of hungry eyes that now know exactly where you are. So ask yourself, would you make it out alive? You've been in the Ice Age for less than an hour. Your muscles ache. Your breath fogs heavy. Your body is burning calories at a speed you can't keep up with. Because keeping warm isn't passive here. It's survival. Constant. Costly. Your skin going numb. Your toes already signs of frostbite. You haven't eaten. You haven't drunk water. You haven't stopped moving. And now you're being followed. You spot them. 3 shapes darting between trees, low to the ground. Always just outside your field of vision. Wolves, but not the kind you see in documentaries. These are thicker, meaner, hungrier, built for this world, built to run you down. You try to stay calm, maybe climb a tree, but the bark is icy, slick, impossible to grip with frozen hands. You slip, you fall. Your knee hits hard rock under the snow. Pain shoots up your leg. Now you're bleeding. You can't move fast. The wolves know. The game just changed. And here's the kicker: you don't even have a stick. Your survival instincts. They're modern, built around cities, comforts, routines. Neanderthals would already be setting a trap, using snowdrifts as cover, positioning for ambush. You're panicking. You scream, maybe out of fear, maybe hoping to scare them off, but it only makes things worse. Sound echoes. Now every predator nearby knows where you are. You spot a boulder, half sunken into the snow. You wedge yourself behind it, not because it's safe, but because it's the only thing. You hear a growl, closer, then silence. Not the comforting kind, the waiting kind, the kind that only ends one way. Your heart pounds like a war drum. The wolves are near, and you are running out of time. You can't run. You can't hide. So now, there's only one thing left to do: fight. You snap a broken branch, jagged at the end, barely longer than your forearm. Not a weapon, really, but it's all you've got. Your fingers are stiff. The cold has turned your hands into meat. Your vision is narrowing. You hear the crunch of snow behind you. You turn, and there it is. The lead wolf. Massive, black-furred, steam rising from its snout. Its eyes lock onto yours, not with rage, but calculation. It's measuring you, deciding if you're prey, deciding if you're worth the risk. You jab the stick forward. It flinches, but doesn't back away. Another shape appears to your left, then another. You're surrounded now, just like the Neanderthals were, except they had training. Weapons, a plan. You? Just instincts. But here's the wild part. Something ancient wakes up in you. Not words, not logic, just something primal. A heartbeat from a time before time. You grit your teeth. You bear them. You growl, low, deep. You make yourself big, loud, feral. And for a moment, the wolves hesitate. Maybe it's enough. Maybe they sense the fight in you. Maybe they remember that even modern humans once hunted them. Or maybe they're just letting you think you have a chance, because 10 minutes out here, that's not time, it's a verdict. And for most modern humans dropped into this frozen world, the result is always the same. You wouldn't last, not 10 minutes, not even 5. If this journey through deep time stirred something in you, that ancient curiosity, that what if I was there, feeling, then hit that subscribe button and join the tribe. Because this is just the beginning. From hidden species to forgotten worlds, we'll uncover it all. One hunt, one fire, one mystery at a time. Leave a comment. Would you survive a Neanderthal wolf hunt? Or would the wolves write your ending?